I start the recording.
Okay. Well, I think first is my name, Bernadette Castillo. I am from Brazil. I work with FIOU since 2008. I have done all FIOU Foundation, Masterclass that time. I participate in the Presence Institute sites and the conference. And I know Arowana and the Social Presence Theaters. There was no names of the activities. Arowana didn't give names for that experience. She explained it and we do. And now this is totally different. And some years ago, I was doing a research about using FIOU related to the self-development of individuals. And I understand that people to be really engaged in a U process, in a U lab, they need to be very strong. They need to be very present, confident, to not bring all the personal questions to the U lab. So this is something that you need to be more you, to go to the advanced training in social presence theater in Berlin with Arowana last year, this year. We need to do a prototype, and my group decided to do a prototype using 4D mapping in companies. This was not for me a prototype because I used to use SPT in many different workshops with teams. But okay, it's for them, it was a new thing. And I follow. But here in Rio de Janeiro, we had groups of practice of SPT. And I used to work with the people with stuck. And many people, after doing the stuck exercise, said to me, okay, I need to think more and to work more about what came to me. Because stuck is just the beginning, and what I can do more. And I stayed with that questions that came from more than one participant. And as I'm coaching, and I say, okay, we are not allowed to create the process of the beginning of transformation and not to support the people in the process. So I begin to think about how I can use SPT, but not with teams, groups, but with individuals. And I remember when I talked with Arowana about that, she said, oh, but it's a social technique. And I say, okay, but the social begins with me, with myself. So I go to explore that idea, and I take the U process because my coaching process is using U process. And then I design coaching and that I name Art Coaching. Why art? Because it's connected to SPT, theater, but it's also connected to drawing, making drawing, film, pictures, and poems, and images, and also a labyrinth. So all the coaching process is based on art. And I designed my process, but it was I didn't know if it would work. So I call a friend and I say to her, okay, I need to do a prototype, test a prototype. Can you be my cobaya? And she said, okay, I can do. And we, at that time, I had a question because I didn't know if I do the whole process in 1 day or I do in 3 days. And I asked it to her, if you do a process like this, in between the sections, you continue to think about, you to continue to work on the process. And she said, no. I think only on the session. So I say, okay, for you must be a whole day. Because, and after I understand that it really must be one journey. Because I bring a momentum of energy. And if I stop that energy. So in the beginning of the process, the person are stuck. I begin to turn this create this movement, this energy. And in the deep process, the people, there is a very fast energy connect to the cosmos. And then the persons go out of the process with a planning process, actions for the next months. And so there is a energy that is created during the process. So if I stop in different sections, I lost this momentum of energy. So now I decided that it's one, like 5 hours, and in the middle we have lunchtime. Because the lunchtime is a very important moment that you can and eat and bring energy for you, and also make a rest of your brain, because a lot of ideas come. So it's important to have this kind of and continue. And so this process like this, you have first moment that I do meditation. So I choose the meditation of the mountain, and because it came of a strong energy of myself. Then I do journaling. I do some questions about the actual moment of the person. The last question that came is what you want to do in this section, in this coaching. What is the question that you are stuck? And the person writes. And then the person, what I want to have at the end of what's my intention for the end of this process. And how can I evaluate that it was a good process or not. And most important is that I don't know nothing what the person is writing. So I'm totally blind during all process. I don't know the question, I don't know why the person are stuck, who are the persons connected to him. I don't know. I'm totally blind, and I have a lot of confidence in the process. So I follow the flow of energy and like this. After the journaling, we have a stuck exercise. So the person do the stuck, and I take a picture, I show her, and I ask her to put me in the stuck process together. So I represent someone that I don't know who, external force, and we do stuck from 1 to 2 together. I film this movement, and after I film this movement, I show her, and she understands, the person understands what is the movement begins from step 1 to step 2, and I take a picture of her in the second position, and I ask her to draw the first position, step 1, the second position, step 2, understand this the beginning of a movement, of a possibility to go out of that situation. and then we stop. We talk about Getian observation. So the person pay attention on how was the feet, the arms, the legs, the eyes, his open eyes, closed. So we talk about the environment. And then we stop and we go to a process that I try to connect with bring a presence in. So the beginning of the presencing, I ask the person to choose one poem. This is in Portuguese, but these are meditative poems. In reality, they are in German, on the other side, because it came from Ulrich Schaffer. This is an anthroposophic writer. So I asked the person to choose one and choose one verse. The person reads and choose one verse and do the labyrinth. This is Schaffer's cathedral labyrinth. So the person do the labyrinth with the finger, yeah, repeating that sentence that came from the poem, yeah. And after that, I present an image of a school of Athens from Raphael, and there's a lot of people on that painter, and the person choose one person there, and I ask you to represent that person. So if the person is with the book and doing this, so I asked her to choose one, be there in that same position. I take a picture and I show to her, she draw again, and how this new image is connected to the other two that came from studies. So it's the beginning of, and for the person, is like cosmos and ideas, inspiration, how she can move from stage 1 to 2 to the future. Because it's related to a person that she chooses. And after that, we do the seed dance. So we came from, she does a new journaling related to the future. And at the end of the journaling related to the future, she does another position that is the future that she wants to be. And I take a picture again. I asked her to put me in that new situation, the future, because she knows who I represent. So she put me, and we do the seed dance from stuck in the 2 position to this new position. But I say to her that not necessary, the final position will be that she wants to be. Because she wants to be is coming from here. And when you do the seed dance, came from here, came from the cosmos. So normally it's a different, and we take also picture and we talk about the movement, we talk about the position. And after that, I ask her, okay, so you have one idea of the future, and how will you go to that future? You need to plan something. So I begin to ask, what do you do in the next, depends on the person, can be 3 months, can be 6 months. And the person begins to write what she wants to do and why she wants to do that, and who is with her in that action. So at the end, we have a structured action planning with the 7 levels. What, who, when, where, why, and how much will cost, and how long will take, and everything. And you finish, and we finish the process, and I continue not knowing what the people are working on the coaching process. And it's a 5 hours process. very deep energy. After I have that first with my friends, I asked people that are interested, 2 persons were interested, but I didn't have agenda. So I tried with both together, and it was very, very hard for me. At the end, I was totally without energy. So I understand that it's impossible. Should be 1 person at each time. Even my doctor, it's a anthroposophical doctor, said to me, and not to be consequent days. So it should be something like I do article to Monday and they need to rest 3-4 days and do again, because it works with etherical body very hard. And now I have done already with 8 persons, 8 clients. Now I receive money for that. It's not so only pro bono, but now I offer like a normal process. And one thing that I created in this movement, I don't give value. I say that for the person, for the client, that after a whole session, after 1 or 2 weeks after the process, the person pay me. How much they understand that this process helped him to go out of the stuck situations. And I had persons that are stuck in health situations, stuck in professional situations, and family situations. So it's very interesting because it's very open, very powerful, effective, I think, because it's 1 day and at the end you have planning, action planning, yeah? And the questions that I can have is perhaps you should, as coach, you should be very well healthy and energetic and very well in a safe environment to do that. Because you all time is creating this safe environment for the clients. And also, it's a process related to a very specific coach. So it's not for someone that I want to save my life for the next 10 years. No, it's not this. This is a situation that I need to decide. I go, I not go. I do, I not do. I agree, I not agree. But something that's very specific question that the person is very tight. There is a lot of possibilities, but she's, I don't know how to say, stuck. So, and it's useful for long coaching because, for example, I had a client that was doing a normal coaching process for professional transition, and she is stuck in the money situation. She had a very difficult, she can't look at the financial aspects of her life because her husband. So if at that time I had known this, I could help her stopping the long process, and now we are working on this. How to deal with money with my husband and helping her to continue the process. Because we need to stop the process because she can't continue, because she cannot look at the financial situation. So, and for future is necessary. So it's this. And also, one thing that for me is a question, not only for my art coaching, but for SPT in general. We see some people pretending using SPT techniques, but doesn't know effectively how to use. So, for example, I know some people that are leading ULab and using SPT, but like a process. And SPT is much, much more than processes, than tools. And so I think that the facilitator of SPT, they should be well prepared working on SPT techniques. It's not only a tool, but it's something more. And how we stop people to to do that or doing wrong, because it's another question. I had a friend that has done a ULab with a group, and he asked me, but SPT is that? And we explain what happens in the, and I say, no, it's not. So this is a, I think that's a question for all of us. Yeah.
So I feel to ask you maybe something more. Maybe if you can go back to, you said about the challenges of working with two people and the energy, the question of energy, because I felt this question of energy and the balance between the energy is something that touched me, you know, that how you protect your energy and the energy of this etheric aspect of the energy. What did you learn from that, or what is your insight from this thing?
Yeah, well, since I study anthroposophy, that's the basis of FuryU. I understand its experience that we need to work with yourself, to take care of yourself, to do anything. So what I do every day, I do eurythmy, that is a movement related to anthroposophy with the body. So with these movements, we work with the etherical body, the analytical body, and then myself. So I do this every day. It's like a 10 minutes exercise. And after I do meditation, and the meditation is a mix of anthroposophical meditation and Shambhala meditation. So I bring the brief of Shambhala to anthroposophical process of meditation. So I try to create this environment. And when we do art coaching process, I try to create environment. I do or here at home, or I do here in my building because we have offices, so I can use that space. So I create, so I bring mats from yoga, I bring things that came this energy of a clean space, very clean space. And also when you go to lunch, I try to choose somewhere to eat healthy. food, for example, vegetarian food, that helps us also to bring this energy of fresh foods to our body. And when I finish, I do nothing more that day. If I can, I go to walk on the beach and stay in the nature so I can refill myself. And also, another thing that came from my coaching training sessions, it is to be very, very present all the time, to feel the energy, because, for example, I had clients that was very easy way doing the process, and for others it was very hard. So I can be there too, and if I saw the people having difficult, for example, to draw the image, I gave him some energy. I think about bring some colors to the environment, but it's a mental process. I didn't say anything. I just calm down, try to make a connection with the other mentally, yeah, to bring this to calm down, to, yeah. But it's a process of be very, very present to be able to take care of the energy of the environment. Yeah. I cannot hear you.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, this is great. Like, yeah, I have a lot of questions actually, but actually, I feel also this experiment is also, that I will upload this, and then everyone can send you questions. Also, so I don't see the opportunity, because like to maybe invite people. I will, when I upload, and then they can like ask you questions or give like some insights from what they see, and like have this as a sort of conversation that can continue afterwards.
So of course.
After I upload, I send you the link and the link to the conversation, and like this you can continue so people can see. And yeah, I personally, I feel it's very interesting. I also worked with groups for a long time, and now I see the necessity also to develop tools for working one-on-one. So I think, having these ways of working is important. And yeah, maybe people would be interested to become art coaches, so you can start training people in doing art coaching. I think maybe an idea. Maybe I would be interested also to listen, but maybe other people, and we can imagine like, because it's a lot of things, the process. So you see all the stages, and maybe some people will have their own ways to use, but it's good to learn the process, in a complete way. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, it's very inspiring also to see, I think, the way that you are learning by doing, and also very generous in explaining all the delicacies, until the details of the what is also not working, or how you adapt to situation.
Yeah. And here in Brazil, there is a friend of mine that she has a training for coaches, persons that are already coaches, and that she explained the U process and how the people can become better coaches using the U. And the idea that came to us She was one of the clients next 2 months. And we decided to have a course for that persons that have already done the course with her, using you process in the coaching process. We decided to have this kind of training, how you can use SPT. But for that, the person needs to be engaged in a SPT practical group, because I think that the person needs to develop the expertise of SPT before going and doing. Yeah. So we are taking care of this to not create a process only, but real methodology. Yeah. Okay, I'm here, and you can, if the person can read in Portuguese, I can send the link of my blog. So sometimes I talk about SPT or other things. Okay.
Yes, that would be great. Maybe creating some materials of this also. Maybe some people would like to translate with maybe.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and see
Thank you, Yuri. Thank
soon.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Soon.
Bye.